All right, good morning, everyone. This webinar is all about BIM Collaborate Pro. It's the new Autodesk collaboration tool, and welcome to the session. What I'm going to do is we're just going to work through the agenda. We'll discuss what we're going to show as a live demo, and then we'll obviously do the demo and conclude thereafter. Right, so first is just to introduce what BIM Collaborate Pro is, where it fits in, and who would use it, and that sort of thing. And then we'll discuss how to get going with it, how to set up the hub, the users, and projects, and after that, how to co-author with a project in mind, using Revit and editing and uploading your model to the common data environment. Right. What we'll also do is just as there are different models in that that could be in that project, how to do a little bit of clash detection and see where problems might occur, if there's issues that needs to be resolved, and that sort of thing. All right, then we'll conclude and finish up. All right, so just looking at the introduction. All right, so what is BIM Collaborate Pro? It's part of a larger ecosystem now. Each year, Autodesk broadens and widens that ecosystem with regards to the common data environment, including more stakeholders through this whole process of working in the cloud. It's already the third generation of this sort of idea. The first was using Revit as the collaboration for Revit that we collaborated with Revit. That was the first gen. Second gen was the BIM 360 environment, specifically the BIM 360 design. And now we're on the construction cloud. It's the new version for this particular software. It's the BIM Collaboration Pro. Now there are other pieces of software as well, or subscriptions, and that links up with a different task in mind. There is for non-Revit users, there might be also a BIM Collaborate, but it's not the Pro version. So these guys don't use Revit. They would just, once you publish the information, they will look at the information. They've got access to the common data environment where all the projects happen, and they can then work and redline and interrogate that particular upload or package that you've created with BIM Collaborate Pro from Revit. Then there's other software as well that Autodesk has recently purchased that completes this whole construction cloud, but that we could discuss in a future webinar. We're focusing on the BIM Collaborate Pro, which links with Revit and how that works in this particular system. Right. Obviously, it's cloud-based, this whole idea. So you would work in Revit, you would upload your model, make it available as a specific package to the stakeholders, and there's one common data environment where you've got one source of truth. It connects all the teams together so that when someone opens up the construction cloud and your project, they will have the most recent version of the model available to work, and that obviously speeds things up. There's no looking around for information, etc., and it just makes this whole workflow more seamless. Right, and that's I think the idea with regards to the construction cloud is to reduce rework, reduce errors, and make the construction of your project faster. All right. Okay, so what we're going to look at is there's three parts in this demo. The first is just to kind of get going, setting up your environment, and then how to co-author and how to publish certain your projects and changes, and then also how to do a little bit of clash detection and looking at resolving issues. Right, now before I get there, there's just looking at the trial site of the BIM Collaborate Pro. I'm just going to open up a website, and it's very easy. You can just go to construction.autodesk.com. If you want to try out this on your own, you would just go to that particular website. You'd click on Try Now at the top, and what you could do is you'll see then a list of all the particular products in this construction cloud. There are various. Obviously, I mentioned a couple. And what we can do with that is you can select the specific one that you want to try out with Revit, and then just click on the try now, and then you would go into that, just filling in some information, and you would have a trial of that particular software. There's certain requirements that you just need to be on a certain level of Revit to basically work with the software. Right, obviously if you've got a current release of, say, BIM 360 design software, it will be automatically upgraded to this construction cloud. You'll still have access to the BIM 360 projects in addition to the new construction cloud projects and that sort of thing. All right, so okay, so there's a little bit of reading information if you want to try this out, this particular BIM Collaborate Pro. All right, my colleague Paul, he will look at the specific part of the demo, and then we'll so I'm going to pass over the presentation to him, and then we can we'll just look at how to create a project, setting up users, and as part one of that demo, and then take it from there. All right, so welcome, Paul. I'm going to just share you as a presenter, and then we can take share your screen and take it from there.
During the presentation, you are most welcome to input that into the chat box, as well as you can break into your audio and ask us questions at any time. Make it interactive if you do have questions. And thank you very much also for giving us the opportunity to present this demo to you. So the setting up of the projects and creating the caches for the files, etc., does take a little bit of time at the beginning. So I'm going to mix the presentation up between an existing project that I've set up for this webinar, as well as showing you how to get going with your first project. So on the demo, we've got part one, how to set up the hub, the users and the projects, and then users and roles. So we'll have a quick look at that. Once you've signed into your hub, you can see that it looks a little bit different. If you are familiar with the BIM 360 hub, which you can still access, it does look a little bit different to what you might be used to. So if you want to start a new project, you would typically go into the account admin. The account admin is meant for the administrators. You might not be an account admin, but if you are, this is what you will see. If you have no projects, nothing will appear here, but you can also create a project. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can see the different tabs, the projects for members, templates, settings, and the BIM 360 admin, which is where you can go to set up some of the workflows or some of the information that might not be available to you yet within this new environment that Autodesk has created. The very important difference between the Construction Cloud and BIM 360 is that the Construction Cloud is meant to be a common data environment, which means that there is only one version of the truth. So there's no rework in the files that are getting done. The projects, as you can see, are here. The members to the hub, you can see here. So if you would like to add somebody to the hub, you can add members, and then you can enter their email addresses. For instance, we've got a BIM2@mgfx, and we use these dummy accounts during training, and then you can say from which company they are, and then what their default role is. I might say they're an engineer, and then what is their access level. So if you want to give them account administrator or executive access, you can do so at this time, or you can also change their status later in the process. Once you say add, they will then be sent an email where they will be invited to join that project. Here you can see that they've been added to the account, and that will then get through to the user who can then accept that invite. The company, or the that you indicated here, the Micrographics cloud, that's not yet part of the account admin. So if you do get to a situation like that, and you need to create a new company, then navigate to your BIM 360 admin from where you can go and create that. So you would go to the old app and add that information. So there is a sharing of information between the old hub and the new hub. So just like before, into the old document management, into the account admin. It's defaulting into this one now, but you can then set up the companies from the old administration interface. In time, they will migrate this into the new system, and you can see the add companies over there. So it's just one of the things that I picked up working with the new platform. That's one example of where the companies was not available. You can see the analytics, the apps, and the roles, and so on. And then once you've added these guys, then you can create them. You also have these templates. The templates are interesting in the sense that you can create folders and roles and access that you can apply initially automatically. And you can also edit those templates to apply them to new projects. So it does automate the process a bit. If you have a involved folder structure, then you can go and edit this template over there as well. And you can see your members and so on. So that is just with regards to the templates. You can create the roles and the permissions automatically. After that, you can create a project. It's quite simple. You give it the project name. And the rest of the information that is required. Over and above what is required, you can choose what it must be. Just going to put here as performing arts, will do just as well. Time zone and the address and everything else that you'd like to enter, and then you could create the project. One of the things that is interesting is that the BIM 360 Collaborate licenses are what is known as bring as your own license, bring your own license model. So you can invite anybody else with the BIM 360 Collaborate license onto your hubs, and they can invite you onto their hubs. So to give you an example where we have been involved in a project like that recently, we had a project in Australia, where we had guys from Australia, South Africa, England, Greece, everybody working together on the same model, on the same models at the same time. So all of that is possible if you have this license. And then what you can see here is that because I created the project, I'm automatically the project admin. Again, we can just add the company over there, the role that I might assign for myself, and the access level, either administrator or project member. And then we've got the project access, the licenses that are going to be assigned to me or to a user. We are definitely going with docs. That's part of your license. Build is not, cost is not, design collaboration is, and model coordination is. Takeoff is not. These are additional packages which are not the focus of this webinar, but which I have also started investigating, and it seems very exciting. What the design collaboration allows you to do is to collaborate with other people by following the sun or by being connected to them in the model anywhere on the world, anywhere in the world, as long as you're connected to the internet. And then also the model coordination part of this, which is where you can do automatic clash detection. A very big plus for us. And that is then how you would set up this user for this project. So it's a two-step process. First, you add them to your hub in the account admin, and then within the project admin, you would add whichever users you would like to add to this project. So if I invite my colleague Charles, then fix him up there, and BIM 1, I can add new 2. I can say that they're from that company, roles that they might, there's only, they're both going to have the same role, or otherwise you would say just Charles would be the BIM manager. He's a project administrator, he's my colleague, and I want him to manage this hub. And then which products must he have access? So automatically docs is included, but I also want him to have the design and the collaboration licenses. After this, I will send him an invite. It's taking that. Probably because I assigned him to the company architect within the account admin. And so you can carry on. You can add more than one member as well. So you can say BIM 1, pick that up, and let's try and see if we pick up BIM 2. BIM 2 has not yet accepted the invite. Some other reason BIM 2 is not coming through from my email at the moment. But there, if you have them, they will come into your project. Again, the role this time it might be architect, and as well as the software. Just quickly see what is the account admin, members. BIM 1 is being part of company architect. We go to our projects. There's our webinar project, and we are going to add a member, BIM 1. I'm going to leave the company, the role, architect, project member, and we're going to assign them the software. And so can navigate through error that we receive. And they are now part of our hub, of our project on the hub. Let's see if we can just add that company quickly. Add them to the architectural company. then it was successfully done. All right, so we had a bit of an issue there with assigning the company, but ultimately we were successful. After this, our users have been added to our project. There are some settings for the project as well. You can alter the information for the project. So if you'd like to have project name and so on edited, this is where you can do that. There are drop-downs over there. We can also change the settings for design collaboration. We'll open up a new page for the design collaboration settings. And you can also do so for the model coordination settings. So we're not quite ready for this yet. We haven't set up our folders yet. And similarly with our coordination spaces, we have not been invited to that. So I'd just like to share with you what that email looks like. This is the email that BIM1 has just received, and they can then go directly to the project by following that secure link. It will take them into the web. Just on the matter of security, currently the offering of the model coordination is only available on the American server, and there are no mobile apps for the docs part of things yet. However, on the build side of things, we have to apply it on site, taking snags, cameras and so forth. That is available. Locations are places within the model which we can add, either just by adding it manually or by downloading a template and importing it. That's important once we get to facilities management and asset management. And then there's also some notification settings that we can go to if we would like to be notified of specific changes that happens to our project. We're going to skip the nitty-gritty of the details of the management of the project. Most people would like to start a project, add members, and then create some folder structure in which they can apply permissions. So after you've set up the project like this, we're not yet ready for the collaboration or for the coordination part. We then have to go to the docs portion of it. The docs portion will show you the file structure that is available, your reviews and your transmittals, your issues, which are limited within BIM 360 Collaborate. You cannot take pictures, however, you can create issues. Like I said, once you go over onto the bold license, which is used on site, then you can start including requests for information or pictures for your snags. So this is the file structure that you see. One is for the field, specifically already meant for when you publish to the field, and then one is for your project files. We might typically start with the project files, and you can click on that radio control button and see that there are a lot of folders and that we can add. We'll add subfolders, we can upload files, we can download source files. That also downloads the links that source file is dependent on, and if they are uploaded into the cloud, and that will zip that file. We can export the files log if we want information about that file. We can go to the attribute settings where we can include extra metadata that we'd like to add to that file. We can sort, and then we can see where we can assign permissions. That's what we're going to look at next, but also note that you can subscribe to a folder, in which case you will get notification of any changes. You can submit a folder for review, or you can create a transmitter. Submitting something for review is a very interesting thing. That is where we put something into the review cycle. So if, let's suppose I am the drafts person and we've got a two-step, goes up to 5 if I remember correctly, but it's got a two-step review process, either single or multiple reviews. Then I might send that for review to Charles. Charles might send that to the principal agent, and after it has been reviewed, then we can publish that for consumption. And the transmitter is just a way to share those files with somebody else. So there's a lot going on here that we can't go through in 45 minutes, but we are going to have a look at the permissions and also the folder structure. I'm going to start with the folder structure. I can add a subfolder over here. I usually predicate the folder with a number, so I can sort them alphanumerically, and I can say, yeah, that's going to be my design collaboration folder. This design collaboration folder is a folder in which specifically we're going to look at Revit today. This is a folder in which I've published Revit files designed in our different teams while we are busy working on our Revit model connected to the sun. We are working on what you can essentially think of as a ghost file. And once you publish it, it becomes a secondary folder. So we need some teams here. We can add a team. We can say this is our architectural team. It's our architectural team. And then I'm also going to include mechanical team. And whatever disciplines you have working on your project, you can then add here. You might have civil, you might have structural, etc., etc. However many teams, sometimes we think of them as companies, and they can all come and sit within this folder structure. That's entirely up to you. That is the way that I would recommend you start the process. Then you get to permissions. Once you double click or just click on the radio button of this project file, so you can look at the permissions that you apply to that folder, and there the users will come into play. And you can see that automatically we've got, because we are both administrators, project admins, both Charles and myself has full control of the hub. You might have yourself, the owner, or the manager that wants full control of the hub. You can also add a user. So if the user hasn't been added, add the user. Before you add the user, they've got 0 permissions, and then you can select a permission level. I would suggest that you start with just a view files permission. Now what happens after this is that any other folder within this tree automatically gives that user the same level of permission. So if you want to interpret this in plain language, we would like to have BIM 1 or the architect to see what is available, but we don't want them to have permission to upload or download or to create markups or anything on the electrical, mechanical, and the structural folders. We just want them to have access to the architectural folder. So when you dive in onto our architectural folder, this is where we can increase the amount of control that they've got. So if they were a BIM manager, we would like to give them full control. But if we didn't want them to create folders or delete folders and files, then we can put them in here with the edit or even less permission to create and publish markups only. So you can control what that person is able to do within that hub. So if I say here, they can edit this folder, you can see how the permission level now increases. Now you cannot decrease a user's permission as you delve into the tree. You can only increase. Right. So on the project files, there they will have a low permission level, and then as they get into their proper folder where they need to work, then we get to, okay, this guy's got more permission now. So that needs to be managed by the project admin, in this case Charles or myself. What permission levels do they have on the folder? Of course, if you increase the full administrative controls, then that architectural person within their folder can even assign that sort of permission to their folder structure as well. That takes the management burden away from the administrators of the hub and leaves it over to the teams so they can manage their own spaces, create their own folders like their company works, and they can then work within the team structure. That's with regards to permissions. Then we get to the interesting part. First we set up the folders and a permission structure, and then we need to start initiating the collaboration, the design collaboration part. So once we click on design collaboration, This is, originally it was created as such to accommodate a BIM level 2 compliance in England, where the thinking behind it was as follows. They call them packages. The thinking behind it is as follows. If I am in a team, let's suppose I'm a mechanical engineer and you are an architect, and I would like to share my files with you, then my team has a BIM manager that needs to check the information first, that it's ready for sharing. So our information manager would have gone through it, the document management would have gone through it, until we are ready to share that package. We would then share that package with you. But on your side, you also have some sort of management, BIM management, that says, is the information that Paul or the mechanical engineer sent to you, is that acceptable for us to consume within our team? And only after both managers have given the go-ahead, then the project can continue and the package can be consumed. So that is the compliance, that thinking behind it, that is the compliance with the BIM level 2 mandate within the engine. That was how it started, and now today we've got this great ability to collaborate on the cloud with Revit files. Just remember as well that the BIM 360 Collaborate platform is the only platform in the world in existence with which you can do this, which makes it very, very powerful with regards to it. Okay, enough chatter. What we can do now is actually add a team. Here it gives you a bit of information. I'm just going to get the party started. And then it says here, use the default project files shared folder or select a different folder. I've done this to give you some more control. I personally just like to say, all right, let's use the project file shared folder. That's easy enough. Then automatically they say, do you want to create a coordination space on the shared folder? I'm going to say yes. What makes this powerful, once the managers share their packages, regardless of whether the other manager has accepted that package, that shared package will go and sit on this project file shared folder automatically. And when you create this coordination space for that folder as well, then the clash detection on what each team have shared will automatically happen. So what does that make it nice for a manager? I can go and have a look at the clash detection of the other team's file before I say that I'm going to accept their package. So if I suddenly pick up that, hey, I'm an architect and mechanical engineer sent me a file, but look, there are now thousands of clashes. And I can quickly go and have a look at those clashes and say, okay, these guys didn't do a good job on this. They need to go back and change something. Or I can say, okay, they've done a great job, but my team's going to have to do a lot of work. And it gives me a heads up on what's coming. It's not something that I've initiated yet as a manager, but it gives me a heads up. I'm going to say continue. Now it wants teams. You can enter a team name. And what I like to do is say, select existing folder. In our project files, in the design collaboration folder, there are our teams, or my teams, that I would like to include. I want to have an architectural team. So I click on that folder and I say add team. I'm going to add the mechanical and the structural and the civil guys similarly. You see, it takes just a little bit of time. It's not going to take too long. And so you can select the existing folders, one after the other. There's my electrical team. Two more to go. Mechanical. Look at the colors. Architectural is green. Electrical is orange. That's important when you get into the swim lanes later when you are sharing your package. These are the colors, and we're almost there. Last thing to go. Now we've got 14. So that could be an architectural company. It could be a collection of people distributed all around the world that are working on that architectural model as a shared folder. Same goes for electrical, mechanical, and structural. So it really does free up your ability to collaborate with anybody on the planet in your discipline that is relevant to you. That is our team space. How has the folder structure now changed? Let's have a look. On Docs, we now see that we've got our design collaboration folder, we've got our team, architectural, and notice how it has created automatically a consumed folder. So what this is going to do is if I, as the manager of the architectural team, choose to accept a package or a group of files that are sent to me from the electrical, mechanical, or structural team, their files will come and sit in the consumed folder, and my team can then link their files into the file that we are working on. So each team now has a consumed folder from where they can link the other team's files in after they have been accepted by their own BIM management. In addition to that, the shared folder has been created. I did not create the shared folder. Autodesk created the shared folder, and this is where the non-checked packages will come and reside in the future. That is what's going to give me my heads up and flash detection, which is going to inform me if I can or should accept one of the other team's packages. That's what the shared folder is. And automatically, because I said it must do so, I said it must create, and you can have multiple coordination spaces, but I said it must create a model coordination space for that shared folder. So in its simplest sense, this is the easiest way in which you can initiate the full value that you can get out of the BIM Collaboration Pro license. You can see it doesn't see any models yet. So first we must upload models. First we must initiate the package before we see what's going on. It does take time initially to push models up into the cloud because it has to create caches, not only on the cloud, but also on your hard drive. It will not be done within the next 15 minutes if you've got ready for the webinar. So I'm going to switch over into a different project. I'm going to switch over into the account admin there, or I can access my projects directly from here. The model that I'm using over here is called the Kobe Challenge. If you are familiar with the BIM interoperability tools, which we use to assign standards, there is something called Kobe. It was initiated by the American military originally. It was adopted by England. It's used in the Middle East, and it's used worldwide to manage facilities management from a spreadsheet-based solution. So I've used this model because it's a nice model for teaching purposes. It's very well constructed. And here we can see that we've got our docs folder. It looks very much the same as the project that we've just set up. It's also got our teams. Here's the design collaboration. There is our teams, the architect, mechanical, and structural. But now notice one extra thing. Because this project has been initiated already, and because I have shared packages and accepted packages, you can see that from the mechanical side, under the consume folder, the mechanical files are shown here. And those are the files that my team can link in from the mechanical team. If the structural guys have shared the files with us, you would also find a subfolder for their teams in here. Same goes for mechanical. Mechanical will see architectural because architectural has shared with them. And the architectural files will also sit in there. The collaboration part, because I have shared a package, you will see that the coordination folder also now under the architect, you will see that these are the unchecked files. So this is not the multilateral approach. This is what the architect would have shared. This is what the mechanical guy would have shared. This is what the structural guys would have shared. So there's a fundamental difference between the files that are in the shared folder and the files that are in your team's consumed folder. So the files that are in this mechanical folder will only be the same as the files that are within the mechanical shared folder if I had accepted the file. So these are the bilaterally agreed files that my team is using. This is a unilateral share from the mechanical team. Hence, when you set up the design, the coordination space automatically for the shared folder, that is what will give you a heads up. You can at any time also create other folders for the clash detection in which you can upload files not automatically, but manually. So you can actually copy files to that folder to do a clash detection. So there's a workflow that you can choose. I like this method because it automatically gives me a heads up. But you might also want to then have a multilateral shared folder where you do clash detection, which will do clash detection only on the models that are multilaterally accepted by the different BIM managers. But this is a good heads up. This gives you what's going to hit me, where are the clashes going to be, what are the other guys doing after they've shared their packages. And because those models are in here, if you switch out into the model coordination space, you can see that these two models, there's a lot of clashes over here that need to be managed. It opens the model coordination space, loading the latest data. It's showing me the files that I've got available to me. You see that you've got some settings over here where you can also filter out files of companies. Once you've got lots of files, etc., there might be hundreds of files. And you can then filter out those files either by your own models, the clashes with my models, and then you can choose who shared, which company, and etc. I'm just going to choose both of these models. It's a very simple setting over here. There's not a lot of models. And then we can view those files. So this is a heads up. It's a unilateral. What's going to happen when different guys do something? So what sort of clashes can we detect? What trouble is coming? And that will allow me then to say I'm the architect and I can see, okay, the mechanical engineer wants to share his model with me. But let me just see what clash detection is going to happen. It loads both of those files. See up there, there's the models. And then we've got our clashes. Boom. And we can see, oops, there's going to be a lot of trouble over there. So I know that I haven't worked on these files a lot, so obviously there's going to be a lot of clashes. Over here we can see, for instance, there's a duct that's going in there and so on and so forth. So after that, you can actually focus in on a specific clash. Here you can see the clash. If you switch it on, and you can see exactly what is clashing over there. So there seems to be some of the drawer over here that's embedded in a wall, and that's one of the clashes that must be made. You can do these clashes either by object, which is each individual object, by system name. So again, the models aren't overly developed, or by type name. And there you can see, okay, we've got 39 clashes of a argument's sake 600 mil depth. And there you can see, all right. So in this case, every time that you've got a zinc on a tabletop, there obviously seems to be a bit of an error over here. The guys that modeled this file just sort of plonked the zinc into this table, and that's obviously not a nice thing to do. So that's something that we must manage. And what's nice about it is you can also add an issue to that. At any time, we can then sort of zoom into that and create that issue for the model. Back here. Let's zoom into, which was this one, and then create an issue for it. Once you create an issue, you can choose where to place it. So this is indicative of an error. Okay. And then once you create that issue, you can also then assign that issue to somebody else. I might say this must go to BIM 1, creating that issue for me. And that's also what your desk, what your dashboard is all about. You open up your project in your team spaces, you go to your dashboard, you automatically see as the architect that I've assigned you the responsibility to go and alter your desk, your tabletops to go and accommodate this. So there you can see the flash, and then we can assign it to something specific. I'm going to assign it to BIM 1, and I'm going to assign to BIM 1. Where's the location? If we add locations, we can add the location over there, so it might be in the men's change rooms or in the kitchen or something like that. When is the due date that we want it to be, the start date and the root cause, all of these things we can add over there. What we can't do is add photos, request for information, or assets. That only comes into play once you buy into the build license, the BIM 360 build license. But you can also attach files if you want, if you have files that you would like to attach. So all of this information goes up to making up this flash. Let's suppose I'm in a hurry and I couldn't be bothered. I'm just going to say, right, listen, I wanted to fix this by, I don't know, let's say due date tomorrow. Right, so the architect must try and fix this by tomorrow. Maybe that's a bit optimistic. We can, make it later. And so, okay, maybe we can wait until Friday. Right. And that then creates that issue. It's that simple. Now the architect knows that they must go and fix that up. But of course, this is a heads up, right? So you would choose your coordination space, either multilateral or unilateral heads up. Now that's a very nice workflow. It's sort of automated within the Autodesk BIM 360 platform now, the way they set it up. It's very useful. And that's the model coordination part of it. The design collaboration part of it, that's much, not much more involved, a little bit more involved. There is quite a bit of understanding that one has to go through before you truly get the method in which the cloud models are managed, but it's not overly complicated. It's just one step above what you might be used to with your central files. Ultimately, also on the insight panel, that's the sort of splash screen. You want to think of it like that. It just gives you an overall impression of what's happening in the project. You sent you some issues and what must you do. Where is the project? What's the weather like over here? So over here we can see we're at the American Embassy in Cape Town, and we've got the weather and the project issues that are immediately there, what sort of type of issue it is, what due date is, what design packages are available. All of those elements are available to us just through your dashboard. So that's awesome. That is great. It just gives me a quick overall view. Okay, I've switched on my computer, I've fired up my Revit, I've got my BIM 360 platform. Now what do I do? And that immediately tells you what you need to do. On the sharing side of things, you'll find that if you open up your Revit, you can go to BIM 360 and you can navigate to whichever hub you need to join. So if you have multiple hubs that you join to all around the world, maybe in South Africa, between your offices, you can then change your hub, change the account, and then within your hub or within whichever hub you are, you'll also see that it then lists the different projects that you are involved in. I'm in the COVID challenge, and so I've got access to my projects. Now, I am signed in as a administrator, so I've got access to everything. But if you were only an architect, then you wouldn't have access to the architect. That's something I can demonstrate. Due to a lack of time, we won't be able to do that. You can see the 3 folders that are within my project files. There is my architectural team, and there is my architectural file. So opening up that architectural file will now open up the shared model or the central model, if you want, the cloud model, or what we call it now, the coordination model, or design model. Think of it as a collaboration model would be the correct nomenclature in today's parlance. And this is a ghost file. So people are often confused that they're working on something that's not visible on the hub, If you look at the hub, the file that you see over here in your team space is not the file that you are synchronizing. This is not the synchronized file. What this is a published file. So this is the published file, version 8. What we have over here is a ghost file. It doesn't exist on the hub. It exists somewhere in the ether, somewhere on server somewhere, and only the guys with the Revit access to the collaboration license with Revit are able to access this file. So you would set this up exactly as you would a normal Revit Central folder, and when you share this, collaborate, you will use the Collaborate in Cloud button that will come up over here. So you can make lots of changes. The changes also online, you can compare them with each other. So let's suppose I've tried to make it a bit fun for today. So over here, if we say this is the alien translation facility, Cape Town, then we might just add the, I don't know, US. So just changing the name to illustrate that quickly. That is that there. And then we've got our different folders, and we are ready, after we've done some work, synchronize looks exactly the same, but understand that this is not synchronizing with the file that's sitting on the hub. This is synchronizing to somewhere in the cloud. And what's necessary for us to do now is to look at this version 8 and update that to version 9. That will allow the other members in my team that don't have access to Revit, people like my boss or whoever else doesn't work in Revit, to come and add some markups on my file. Right, so I'm happy with the work that I've done, and I want to share this with someone else. So in my own team, we're going to go into that markup. So there's my published settings. It works very much like printing, so I can choose that I want to have the 3D Navisworks view going up and some sheets. I'm happy with that. Save and close, and then I can go to manage models. Now, manage models is a bit more interesting. This is also where you can recover from a different version or roll back your model or an earlier version of a synchronized model. You'll see that you've got this little button at the bottom over there that you can drop, and you can view the versions. If you wanted to roll back to an earlier model, then you can actually execute that and restore an earlier version of your model. So I don't want to do that. I'm just going to go back to my model over here and say publish latest. So this is what in effect updates your model on the so this is now going to update 8 to 9. You see it's busy updating over there. Publish latest. It says to me I can carry on working, and it will tell me when it's done. I'm just going to wait for it quickly. We've changed too much the model, but this does take a little bit of time, and after this it will be available as a published file, version 9, on my hub. The interface over here will turn green once it is finished published. There's just two more things that I'd like to illustrate to you. The one is that you can open that file for markups, and the last thing that we'll quickly deal with is how do you share a package with the other team and accept that as the other team. There we go, it's done. We'll go on to our project over here, and we can see that it's busy updating. Again, this does take a little bit of time to update. What you can do, I'm going to switch over because I'm admin, I've got access to this. Note that your administrators will have access to different teams, so you need to have people of impeccable character. You want to have your administrators being responsible for your hub. And there you can see you can open your model, you can actually view changes from one model to the next. What's changed, you can highlight that in colors, and you can also create markups. There's an enormous amount of functionality in here. Works great also with the federated model where you can see all the differences. So there you can see how it's uploaded my Navisworks mechanical file over there, and we've also got the sheets that we've got available to us. There's our 3D sheets. You can navigate the model. There are so many different controls over here. I'm actually really disappointed that we haven't got a lot of time because I'd like to have shown you everything. But in short, you can do some markups over here, and you can assign issues as well. Where you can see you can assign issues, and markups, and you can also do a change detectors. Even a nice little tool like this, we can go and say, show me the 3D model from that position. Viewing in some other direction will take you into the 3D model and show you what's going on there. So really a great way of looking at sort of your own teams now going back to markups. With the boss might say, listen, I don't really like the name over here, and changes to US Cape Town because the other teams also change their name. And so you would just create a quick issue over there to tell you don't change that name. To see if the architectural model is synced, you can see the difference quickly. Still busy syncing. And while this is busy syncing, let's go and have a look at how you would share a package, model coordination, design collaboration. This is what is known as your swim lanes. We'll open it up to you so you can go and share the packages with the BIM manager. You can share your team's information with the other teams. Automatically, when you share your package, that's going to sit within the shared folder. So it's going to be the other guy that will just the task section, and it's also going to give them the opportunity to link that into their file and after that accepted that. So there you can see the mechanical team. You can click on the mechanical team, and I can say, all right, I want to create a new package. Create a new package. You can choose what you're going to share over here. I'm just going to choose the whole set that I published. Makes it easy. Navisworks folder and the sheets. We can also look at the models that are included in that. Automatically it's going to be included because it's taking the 3D view from the set. And the documents, you can add documents. So I've also created some printed drawings in the mechanical folder. And I can choose to take that PDF drawing set that I've printed and go add that as well. You can also add DWGs and all sorts of files in here. After I've done that, and I'm happy with it, then I can save package and share the package. And you can give it a name and a description and share. So this is my side, BIM manager, that's going, I want to share these files with other teams. I want their managers now to accept it. What the other managers would do is they would open their collaboration platform, go to their swim lane. They can see that the mechanical guys have shared a package with them, and they can then consume that package. And so click on the mechanical package, they will then be able to consume that package. I'm going to consume that package. So after I've checked out their model, you can also navigate the model and see the changes, all sorts of things you can see in there. That's now going to consume that project for the architect, and that's going to sit within there, the docs folder. I see we're getting very close to 10 o'clock. We'll call the webinar here unless you guys have other questions. And then we can fill them quickly. Still busy with the upload of the architectural model. So my apologies on that. It is a limited time, but it does help every week when we share our packages with other guys to show what is going on and to help each other to collaborate and clash. So yeah, unless there are any questions from the other guys on the platform itself that we can field for you, we'll just conclude with the presentation for now. Remember that we are available to you if you'd like to adopt the technology, if you'd like to learn how it works or need us to assist your company. You can get hold of us through mgfx.co.za/contact on our website. And thank you also very much for the opportunity to present the webinar to you this morning.